Welcome to the Valley of Grace podcast, helping women reclaim their power, soul, and identity so they will know they are enough. I am Katina Horton, and I've got a special guest with me here today, and her name is Claudia Narega Bernstein. And so we're just going to start off by having her to tell the audience her life story.
Gee, I'm gonna. Do you have like a couple of hours?
Hey, however much you want to tell.
I am from Peru. I was born in Peru.
Okay.
I was married really young. After I was heartbroken,
Mm,
a very close family member, and this is something that I have never ever talked about. I don't know why it's coming to my mind, but
okay.
a very close family member
Mhm.
had a thing with somebody that was going to spend the rest of his life with me.
Okay. Wow.
And I saw them, they didn't see me. So it was hard because I didn't have that closure where you go and confront the person. I
Okay.
just made decisions in my life after that, pretty
Mhm.
much based on that disappointment.
Got you.
I was like, I'm never going to fall in love again. I don't care about um being emotional. I'm going to put a wall in front of me. Like a lot of decisions that you make when you're hurt because you don't have the knowledge how to break those patterns.
Right.
So I got married with somebody else,
Mhm.
which was a disaster because he was physically abusive and mentally abusive and emotionally abusive. So it was a true nightmare.
Hmm.
Didn't want to be divorced because
Okay.
I was in my mind, my parents got divorced. I
Right.
got to make this work.
Right.
So, it's kind of, now that I'm thinking about, because I read a couple of, the questions, and the first one, I didn't really think about it because usually when they ask me about my life, I'm like, I'm from Peru, then I moved to the States. I jump that period that I'm talking to you about. And now that I'm thinking about it more deeply while I'm speaking to you,
Right.
see those patterns and why that was actually a very, very toxic relationship and why I stay in that relationship. Not only because I didn't want a divorce, but I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And
Mm.
oftentimes we do that. It's like
Yes.
we care more about what other people are thinking about our behavior and about ourselves than what we should think about our behavior about ourselves. Obviously, right now in my life, I am my vibration is a lot higher. I am in a different place. My relationship with God is different. I
Right.
am in a place where I can look at myself in the mirror and like what I see.
Exactly.
But before I didn't have
Mhm.
that luxury.
Right.
So
Mhm. Because of
when
all of the trauma that you had endured, basically, right?
Right. And when you are with a toxic person, they know they're toxic.
They
Even though
sure
they will
do.
not acknowledge they're toxic, they know they're toxic.
They
So
do.
what they're going to do, they're going to reinforce all your limited beliefs so
Right.
you will leave them.
Right.
So it's like after he punched my face, he will say, look at you. Who's going to want you like that? And of course, who's going to
Mm.
want me like that if I
Right. After you just did what you did. Right.
am broken, I am not
Exactly.
worthy. Why would anybody like me? So my only choice is to be with this person that even though he's abusing me in so many ways, he is the only person I have. If not, I
Right.
will be by myself. And
Exactly.
that's the process that we go through in our head.
Mhm.
And it's all a lie because those are the limited beliefs that we create
We
by
created
talking with
them.
ourselves.
Right.
And when we do this, we start looking for evidence everywhere
Mhm.
to support those beliefs,
Right.
to make ourselves true.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
we know that this is the truth because of this and this and this and this. And
Mhm.
your mom, your sister, your best friend, your pastor, anybody can come and tell you whatever, but you, first of all, you're going to defend that person
Right.
because that's the only person you have, and you're not going to lose the only person you have, right?
Exactly.
And you have secrets with that person because of course you're not disclosing everything that happened in the relationship, so
You
you
sure not.
you see those secrets as a bond,
Right.
right?
Yes.
You're like, we have something that no one else have,
Yes.
in a very sick way,
It's very sick and twisted, isn't it?
right? So you don't want to hear anybody telling you how wrong this person is, and you somehow becomes the defender of
Hmm.
your abuser.
Yes. I know
He's not
exactly what you're
really
talking
like
about.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
When we get along, we our highs are very high. Okay, we get along very good sometimes. Yeah, we have problems. Sometimes I make you mad.
Right.
Sometimes it's my fault.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we
Right.
go through all that. So
Right.
I went through all that stuff in my first marriage without knowing that I was going through that,
Right.
until I practically ran away. I
Mm.
grabbed my purse and my glasses and my passport, and I got into a plane and I went to see my brothers and sisters who were in Miami. And
Wow.
I stayed with them for a period of time. And that period of time helped me a little bit find myself,
Hmm.
do things on my own without the other person. Because when you're in a toxic relationship, you're codependent.
Right.
You I mean, even though you can be in a toxic relationship because you have low self-esteem, you lose more self-esteem when you're in a toxic relationship.
You
But
sure do. Whatever you had left is going to be taken away from you by the time you get through, like you said, because when you entered, nine
right,
times out of 10, the self-esteem was already low. But once you get
yeah,
in there, every
that's it.
ounce that you had left, they're going to just rip it from
I
you.
mean, when you see the person you love
Mm-hmm.
being with somebody else, that right there, you broke your heart. But when that person is with somebody that is supposed to be close to you,
Mm-hmm.
it's a double whammy.
Oh,
It's
for
like,
sure.
I am not worthy of being loved by a man, and I am not worthy of being loved by my loved ones. So
Mm-hmm.
your self-esteem, it takes a really roller
Yeah,
coaster down,
it
I
does.
mean, that's the down part of the roller coaster. So
Mm-hmm.
um, when I went to Miami, I started working with somebody that was friend with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
He was the sweetest man. Like, his demeanor was so gentle, and it was such a
Mm.
contrast
Okay.
that for me was like, wow, there is another side of the coin. There
Right.
is other people that can treat me differently. And
Yes.
maybe, just maybe, because in 6 months you're not gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'm
Right.
fine now.
Right. We think that, but that's not reality. Because to me, just being honest, sometimes it can take 6 months before your brain feels it's safe enough to allow you to feel the full effect of what you just came out of.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean? Let alone even try to start
Like
healing
a
from it.
withdrawal from a drug,
Right. From a
like a
drug.
withdrawal kind
Exactly.
of.
Right.
So for me, was comparing it and thinking, oh my God, I mean, why this person is so kind to me,
Mhm.
Maybe he just want to sleep with me. Maybe he just want to do this. Or, you start
Right.
again, your
Right.
limited beliefs start coming back. It's like,
Right.
it's not you. He has an agenda.
Mm.
As the time started going by, I started realizing that this person really cared for me. And
Okay.
that helped me. We're still friends after all these years. This happened 35 years ago. I'm
Wow.
55. So I was
Mhm.
like, wow, this
Mhm.
person is helping me find who I am and why I am worthy of being loved.
Wow.
And that, I think, is one of the biggest gifts I ever received from another human,
Mm.
because there was no agenda. He really, truly saw and still see talents and qualities and possibilities for me that,
Mhm.
I mean, yes, I have other people in my life that
Right.
bring that to me, but I can truly say that aside of my dad,
Mhm.
he was um, another very important person in my life,
Okay.
very much. And for my dad, it was like I had an amazing relationship with my dad, but you think your dad supposed to love you,
Right.
So it's
Right.
not
We
like
do.
he
We ought to.
spread it or
Right.
love, but it's
Right.
like he's my dad, of
Right.
course.
He's my dad. Exactly.
He's not gonna tell me,
Right.
how messed up I am.
Exactly.
But that was like an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody told this person where I was, and he came and grabbed me and brought me back, and everything started happening again because you go back to those patterns.
Right. You do.
And it took me like a good 4 to 5 months to realize, no, I can't go back to this. I
Right.
just can't go back to this. And I left him and I moved to the States. And after a while, I met the father of my kids, and we got married.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 3 wonderful kids after a lot of treatments and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Then I got cancer. It was like
Right.
a lot going on.
Okay.
And he was an entertainer, and he was a wonderful, he passed away a couple of years ago, and we were
Mm.
very good friends until
Sorry
the
to
end.
hear that. Wow.
Yeah, we were very good friends until the end.
And this
But
was your children's father.
yeah,
Okay.
my second husband.
Okay.
And we developed a good friendship after a couple of years that we got divorced, because there is no thing as you get divorced and you're best friends the day after you sign the papers. No,
Right.
you have to grow, you have to forgive, you have to forgive yourself, you have to go through the motions, take responsibility. See, and I say it to my clients, even though my husband, because he ended up cheating on me too, which
Mhm. You were saying that after a couple of years, you guys ended up having to get a divorce.
after 5 years,
Okay.
and the thing was like, he was a very attentive husband. So
Mm.
we had a very happy life together. It
Right.
wasn't like, you know, he was distant or aloof or indifferent to me. No, I mean, from our intimacy to our friendship to we work together, it was good.
Right.
He was an entertainer, so he was exposed to a lot, and I'm not justifying, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but he was exposed to a lot, and when you have that much attention, you can't lose your ways,
Oh,
because
I do.
you believe it, you think that you're superior, you can get away with it,
That
I
is
mean,
true.
yeah, and he wasn't emotionally intelligent enough to realize that that's just a mirage. That's not real. When somebody sees
Right.
on stage, he's not seeing the human. He's seeing the artist, the entertainer, and they have this vision and that idea of that person that is not who that person is.
That's true.
And you know, he made those mistakes, and I, even though I was very hurt, I had learned enough in the years before to realize that that's not what I wanted. And
Right.
if I didn't stay in the first time, with
Mm-hmm.
my first boyfriend,
Right.
why would I stay now? And I had people saying to me, oh, because you have 3 kids. And I was like, and what example would I be giving to my children? Even though my children never knew until very little ago, and my kids are all
Mm-hmm.
adults, and they
Right.
found out, because they go through pictures when he passed away, and they heard
Right.
people saying stuff, but never from my mouth. I mean, I never
Right.
went and said, this is why. No,
Right.
the contrary, him and I decided we are going to be in the same page, because the
Mm-hmm.
most important thing right now are the girls, and that's
Right.
it.
Right.
So, but because I have learned so much about myself, I was able to make that decision.
Exactly.
And I was by myself after that for a long time,
Mm.
because my priority was to be a mom.
Right. To take
And
care of your children at that point, right?
right. And not only take care of them financially, but
Mm-hmm.
making sure that they had the stability they needed to grow up with self-esteem, with integrity, with values, protected. Because
Exactly.
at the end of the day, society now is too crazy,
It
and I
is.
live in Las Vegas. So imagine they,
Mm-hmm.
they could be exposed to a lot of things here. So
Oh, for sure.
I was a helicopter mom, and I was very proud of being a helicopter mom. Okay, you want to judge me? don't worry about it. I'm not taking it personal. But my kids are not gonna go through what I went through,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So then I met this wonderful man
Hmm.
on a blind date, and we
Right.
got married, and we've been together for 17 years. I had cancer two times more, so a total of three,
3 times. Okay.
3 times total. Which actually I went to a retreat, not retreat, but a like yoga kind of class thing, and the lady that was a kundalite, something like that. I'm not
Okay.
sure those words. And she said to me, "It's very curious that you had cancer in your thyroid, in between your heart and your lungs, and in your ovaries.
Hmm.
Those are like the chakras, kind of it, you
Right.
know."
Right.
So it was like she said, "You should read about it, because they
Hmm.
might have some spiritual meaning or something like that."
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and the thing about it too is that um what I've experienced, like even with my own the toxic relationship I was in with my ex-husband, who is a narcissist, what happens is that I feel like a lot of women, at least from the ones that I know, who are with abusive men, they end up having thyroid issues because I have a thyroid problem myself.
Because we don't use our voice. We don't
Right. Don't speak
we
up.
hold everything here. So it
Yep.
comes from your heart to
Yep.
here and from your brain to here, and we don't verbalize it for
Exactly.
whatever reason, because we're afraid, because
Hmm.
we don't think we have the right to speak, because we don't
Yes.
think that what we have to say is valuable.
Exactly.
And all those are the conversations that we have with ourselves. I mean,
Oh,
if
for
we,
sure.
if we could actually realize the power of our own thoughts and how we feed
Hmm.
ourselves,
Oh, for sure. Yes.
goodness, we can be
Hmm.
our best friend or we can be our worst enemy. And the minute that we realize that, all
Yes.
the relationships are going to change, because
There
the
you
main
go.
relationship is with you.
Right.
If
There
you
you
don't have a
go.
good relationship with yourself, you're not gonna have it with your kids. You're not gonna have it with the person that cleans your house or the grocery store cashier or whoever. You're not
Right.
gonna have it, because it starts with you. And like every relationship, you gotta have respect
There you go. Isn't that the
right there.
truth? Right there.
You gotta speak the truth to yourself. You gotta have integrity,
Right.
right?
Yes. Oh,
You
my
gotta
word.
be
Yes.
honest with yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable,
You sure do. Because
because
nobody
you're not
else is going to
perfect.
do it. Right.
You're not perfect. You
Right.
know, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to be hard with yourself. I was talking to somebody very bright the other day, and she said to me, "You're not responsible for your first thought."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I thought I got like a blank card, like, okay, good, But it's true to an extent, because we are a collection of experiences.
We
And
are.
sometimes, as much as we want to be in control, that first thought is going to jump from the experiences and everything that happened to us in our
Mm-hmm.
history. So yeah, you're not responsible for your first thought, but you are responsible for all the thoughts after that, and you are responsible for every action that you take after that thought.
Based upon, right, because you already know once this thought come in, it's just going to take me to a bad place, and my behavior is going to end up being acting out from that what that thought, start off as a thought, then it turns over to emotions, then it go from the emotions to the behavior, then our behavior makes an impact.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Hmm. So I can understand that totally. I've got another question for you. So just thinking about those two relationships you were in, with the first one, and
Mhm.
then you ended up marrying your the second husband, which is the father of your children, right? I just want to make sure I got it together. Okay. So now when you think about both of those relationships, what do you think what happens when there's a disconnect as far as the human connection when you're in toxic relationships? What do you think causes that disconnect?
I think we expect. I think that expectation is what take us out of our line.
Hmm.
We hope, that the person this time is going to behave different. You
Right.
hope that, you're going to be able to change that person. You
Mm-hmm.
hope that, you know, um, if I am different, this person is going to react differently. And we
Yes.
don't, we don't realize that we have zero control over people. Zero.
There you go. We got all of this hope, and a lot of it is false hope because we don't have any evidence that they're going to change,
No,
and we
no,
can't control them.
no.
Because
You can control yourself
that's
and how
it.
you react and the decisions that you're going to make and how you're going to work to have the life that you want to have. But
Right.
the other person is a whole new world,
There
and
you
they're
go.
going to deal with their insecurity and their stories and their limited beliefs and their integrity, if they even have one. you
Right.
know no, you have no control. And oftentimes I remind that to my girls, and I say,
Mm-hmm.
nobody can make you feel anything that you don't
Right.
know.
Right.
No, if you walk in the street and somebody scream whore, are you going to turn around? No. So
Right. That's true.
why are you owning what people are saying?
That makes sense. You're right.
No,
Mm-hmm.
you got that
Yep.
choice. I don't want, you know what? I understand what you're saying. I don't agree.
Right. 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 Sorry you feel that way. I'm not agreeing with you.
Yes, if
Yep.
somebody comes and bring you a gift and you
Mm-hmm.
don't want that gift, who that gift belongs to?
It's still theirs because if you don't want it,
Exactly.
you can refuse to take it.
Exactly. And if you
Mm-hmm.
are seeing every negative comment, every person that is rude, every malicious or toxic conversation, if we
Mm-hmm.
start recognizing that and we take in consideration that we don't want those gifts,
Right.
then they're not going to be part of our life. But that's a
Exactly.
decision that we have to make.
Right.
Nobody can make it for us.
That is true. That is so true. So what would be why do you think that people stay in toxic relationships so long? And then do you think it's the same for Christians?
I think people stay in relationships like that because they don't have a good support system. They don't believe they can make it without that person.
Mm-hmm.
Afraid.
Yep.
They're afraid. And fear for me is face everything and rise. You know,
Mm, I love it.
if you see fear as that, then
Mm-hmm.
you can conquer anything. But if you
Got you.
see fear as something that holds you back, that scares you, that creates self-doubt, that doesn't empower you, then you are going to stay in that relationship because
You're
there
gonna
is no
stay
other
in it.
reason why you would leave.
Right.
You're going to stay
Mm-hmm.
there because, okay, I don't have a choice.
Right.
And you do have a choice.
You
You
do.
always have a choice. And even if we go further, I mean, you got to have faith. You got to believe that there is a bigger picture, that there is a bigger plan. I remember
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid, my dad told me a story about this guy that was in the middle of the ocean, and a helicopter came to rescue him. And the guy was like, no, 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 go, go. God is going to save me. And then a boat came and they were like, no, 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 go, go, go. God is going to save me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he died. So God faced him and said, what happened? And he goes, well, I
Right.
thought you were going to save me. I sent you a helicopter. I sent you a boat. I mean,
Right.
what do you want from me?
What else did you need for me to for you to have to come to Jesus moment, right?
Right.
Oh my goodness, tell me about it. Right. But that's a lot of times how we are. We don't even see the signs that God is sending us all these people and all these different
We're like
ways
this.
of escape. Yeah, we got I call it the spirit of tunnel vision,
Yes.
you know? Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
know.
Oh my word. So what would you say if somebody came to you and they said, what are some of the red flags to look out for in a toxic relationship? What would you tell
Anytime you are in a anytime you are in any relationship, when you cannot be yourself,
them? Mm-hmm.
toxic relationship. When
Okay.
you cannot express yourself, you're
Right.
in a toxic relationship. When you
Mm-hmm.
cannot share your goals, your thoughts, even your fears,
Mm-hmm.
you are in a toxic relationship because you are in a one-way relationship. And the
Yeah.
last time I checked, one and one doesn't mean it's not one.
Right.
And one is two.
Right.
You know?
That
So
is true.
when people said to me, "Oh, because he's my other half," I go, "So you're not a one, you're a half, and you're
Right, right.
a full."
Like a half of a pie or
Yeah, I don't understand that.
right, right.
He's my other half. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Do you
So
guys
you're not a whole one,
go
right?
together everywhere?
Right, right.
How is that working for you?
That is
How are
true.
your plans going? What goals do you have? What's your vision?
Exactly.
He has the same vision as you, so you're gonna go together to complete that.
Right, because you're the half and he's the half. So y'all
Right.
come together
How
instead
is
of it
that?
being
One of
two.
the things that I
Yeah.
love about my marriage with my husband is
Mhm.
that we both have goals.
Mhm.
We both have different things that we want to achieve,
Right.
but we also have things that we want to achieve together. So
Got you.
we're not all the time, on top of
Mhm.
each other. It's like
Right.
he has his dreams that I will support. I have my dreams that he will support. And then we have dreams together.
Got
We
you.
have things my husband is Jewish.
Mhm.
I mean, we don't talk about Jesus
Oh, I
because
see
we're
what you're
not
saying.
gonna agree. I always
Got you.
tell him,
So he's got his faith and you've got your faith. Because I know
I
some
said, you know
some
what?
people who are Jewish, they you know what I mean, they even though they're Jewish, they're Christian Jews, but with
Right.
him is he's not. Okay.
He is Jewish. I am I
Mhm.
was raised Catholic. I
Okay.
don't go to church every Sunday. I
Mhm.
have a great relationship with God, and I do
Right.
go to church the days that I must go to church. And
Got you.
I'm super spiritual. I I live my life with fear of God.
Got you. Yep. I see what you're saying.
I when I have to make a decision, I always think. I mean, a lot of people say, "What would Jesus do?"
Mhm.
I don't do what would Jesus do, but I really look inside myself and say, would would that make God happy? Would this
Gotcha.
be something that
Yep.
you know, that is
Mhm.
that is in aligned with my beliefs? That's
Right.
how I do it. But
Exactly.
with my husband, I tell him, "You didn't get the other part of the book, so you can talk." Only got the first volume. Okay, you didn't get
Oh
the
my
second volume.
goodness.
You cannot talk about it.
That is too funny. Oh my word. Now, when it comes to, because a lot of women, and I know I had to deal with this myself in my own healing, end up with soul ties from toxic relationships.
Right.
So, in your opinion, why do you think it's important to break those soul ties and whatever other unhealthy patterns of behavior that you have before you enter the next relationship?
I read an article a while ago that explained people have different idea of the soul type. Some
Hmm.
people think it's just a codependent relationship. Some people think has a lot to do with sex. But they have different ideas of what a soul type is. But
Hmm.
I read an article that explained that if you glue two papers together
Hmm.
and you try to peel them, they're not gonna come out exactly the same.
They're
Some of
not.
this paper is gonna stay here, and some of this paper is gonna stay here.
Right.
So when you separate from that soul tie,
Hmm.
that relationship,
Right.
you're gonna take some of that person,
True.
and you're gonna leave some of you
Hmm.
person.
That is true.
So that's where the codependency
Hmm.
goes up
Right.
because parts of you are still there and parts of him are still here.
Hmm.
When For you to be able to move on, you need to detach those parts of him from your paper
Hmm.
and rebuild the parts of your paper that were stuck on his.
Yes.
You understand what I
Oh,
mean?
I love it. I understand exactly. Yes,
So
I
then
understand
you are a
exactly.
whole again.
Right, right. But you're
You are a whole, but
absolutely
that's a
right.
work you have to do on your own.
On your own, right? It's not work that anybody else can do for you
No,
because, as we talked about before, I think of like soul tie and actually coming off of it. I think of it as like uh, being on drugs. It's like you go through withdrawal. as you heal from that.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not healed, you should not start another relationship, because what's gonna happen is
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna glue another paper into your paper that is already not you,
Right.
okay? And
Mm-hmm.
attached to that one, you're gonna have a collage of people
Oh my word, yes.
that is not you, because you
Exactly, like you
haven't
said.
healed.
Mm-hmm.
And little
Right.
by little, what happened is you become somebody that is not even a sketch of what you used to be.
That is so true. That is so true. And one thing I say too, like with people that have narcissistic brokenness, they have that false sense of self. So
Right.
they walk around with all these pieces of different people inside of them. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
we don't realize, like, once we've hooked up with that type of individual, all those people, you know what I'm saying? We become soul tied to, because that person
absolutely.
doesn't know who they are. They don't have any clue of their identity. So we've just meshed ourselves with that. It's
Right.
a lot of
And
work.
when you're a Christian, you think um, you have to forgive.
Right.
So you stay in those relationships and you stay attached to those people because you think that's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the last time I checked, God wants you to be happy.
He
And God
does.
will not want you to be with somebody that is either beating you up or cheating on you or being abusive emotionally. No.
Mm-hmm.
So don't confuse being um, forgiven to not having love for yourself.
Right. I agree. Like
It's
you
two
said, there's a lot
different
of,
things.
it is two different things, isn't it? And don't you think that a lot of Christians, they think, okay, forgiveness equals trust. And that's two different things, you know?
Two different things. It's like belonging and fitting in.
Right.
It's two different things.
There you go.
I wrote one of my journals is "Don't Shrink to Fit,"
Right.
and it's for women because we
Hmm.
tend to do that. We
We do.
do that. We shrink to fit in whatever box
Yes.
we think, again, because it's not
Hmm.
a fact, it's our
Right.
mind.
Right.
So we think we're supposed to fit in this box, and if we don't fit, we shrink. And that
Hmm.
has nothing to do with belonging. You can
Right.
belong. You can feel that you belong to a church or a family or a society or a club or whatever you want to belong to.
Whatever we want to belong to. Right.
But that doesn't mean you're gonna fit,
Right.
because if it in at any given time you have to change who your core, who your soul is to fit,
Hmm.
then that's a toxic relationship
There you go. Like you
right
said,
there.
you got to change it. Yep. So, can you quickly tell the audience how you help other people achieve self confidence, good relationships, and then their life purpose and becoming authentic?
So when I get refer like a client, reach out to me or go into my website and are curious about it, the first thing I do, I have like a 30-minute conversation for free, because
Oh,
I first of
good.
all I need to know if we have chemistry.
That's true. Yep. I
I'm
know
not
what you're saying.
everybody's favorite flavor.
I know
So
what you mean.
and if you don't have that chemistry, then the other person is not going to open up, is not going to be vulnerable, is not
Hmm.
going to trust you.
Right.
So it's very important that we are in the same vibration, the same place, the two of us, where we can connect. Even if I have more knowledge, okay,
Hmm.
of the subject, it doesn't matter. We need to see each other as equals,
Hmm.
so we can be vulnerable.
Yes.
And in that conversation, I mean, I don't share about my life,
Hmm.
um, but I listen, because it's very important to listen. A
Hmm.
lot of times when you speak to somebody, they are thinking about the answer instead of listening about what you are actually saying.
Right.
And your time is precious. My
Oh, for
time is
sure.
precious.
Right.
So if I'm giving you the time to speak to you in the phone, I have to give you my attention
Oh, for sure.
and I have to listen to you. So
Hmm.
the first thing I do, I listen to them. If I feel that we are a good fit,
Hmm.
we decide, Some people say, yeah, I just want to have 5 sessions, or I want to have it once a week, or I want to have whatever.
Right.
We decide. Then we start the sessions.
Right.
I give them homework. I send them
Mm-hmm.
like a little um, not a booklet, because it's like, I don't know, 12 questions.
Right.
So they can start thinking,
Okay.
they
Right.
can figure out what's their why. What's your
Right.
why?
What's your why? There you go.
Why are you calling me, and why this is important to you, and why do you feel that you need to change some things in your life, and why do you want to get better, and why
Right.
this is not working for you?
Right. Yep. Those are
Now,
some important questions.
why this is not working for you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then when we start meeting, I try to guide them.
Because sometimes the energy doesn't mix and that type of thing.
Right.
So we
So
can.
then they get their little homework, and they work on that, and then we start the sessions. And in the sessions, I ask them about their why,
Right.
what we talked before,
Mm-hmm.
and then we talk about confidence.
Right.
What is confidence for you? What is
Right.
courage for you? What is
Mm-hmm.
faith for you? Because I need to know where they are,
Right.
and
Oh, I do.
I need to hear what are their beliefs,
Right.
because perhaps their perception, which is 95% of the time
Yes.
what it makes us do things, our perception of a situation. So I need to know what's their perception, what it is, what it is that you believe.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me.
Right.
And then we start working in the triggers. What are
Right.
your triggers? What are the things that, and it's not that I just say, what are the triggers? We
Right.
talk. So we discover together those triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Right.
sometimes, even though I have set sessions with them, sometimes they give me a call at any time, or they
Mm-hmm.
shoot me a text message and it goes, Claudia,
Right.
can we have 5 minutes? I just had a situation. I think I found a trigger, because they start getting invested in discovering themselves,
Right.
like an
Yeah.
onion. They start peeling themselves. So they're curious now. They want to
Mm-hmm.
know more, and they want to
Right.
know more about themselves, which is so gratifying,
Mm-hmm.
because the more you know about yourself, the more you're going to be able to grow. I mean,
Right.
to fix a problem, you have to acknowledge there is a problem.
That
So
is true.
the minute that you see, okay, wait a minute, this is the pattern. How can I do this differently so I
Right.
can get a different result?
Yes. You're
You know,
absolutely right. It's all about breaking the patterns.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
we work on that, and then little by little we start discovering the goals, the dreams they have, and what would it look the best version of themselves like.
Mm.
Tell me, if you want to have any beliefs, any
Right.
limited beliefs,
Right.
how would you like Katina to be?
Right. I
You
see
know,
what you're saying. Yes.
and then, I mean, we do different things. One of the things that I do with my clients is we talk about forgiveness, and not only forgiveness to the people that have hurt us,
Right.
um, because even then we have some responsibility, because as I said before, nobody can make you feel anything. So if you're hurt, it's because
Mm-hmm.
you're allowing that person's actions to hurt you.
Right.
So you also got to forgive yourself for
Mm-hmm.
allowing that pain in you.
Right. Right.
That is very deep to understand.
Mm-hmm.
We're always prompt to go to the victim place. They
That's
did
true.
this to me.
Right.
Because how dare they? And of course, I'm having a bad day. Did you know what happened to me? Well,
Right.
nothing
Right.
happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything happens for you. And
Gotcha.
in the moment that you start seeing every failure, every mistake, every bad day,
Mm-hmm.
every breakup, everything has
Right.
taught you something. So,
Isn't that the
yeah,
truth? Everything
it,
that we go through in life, yes, it has taught
yeah,
us something, and even if it's different things we've done and failed at, it still has helped. That lesson is something we can carry on to whatever
yeah.
area in life. Because what we do in one area, then it goes over in every area of our life. You know?
But you know what's the trick?
What's
to
that?
recognize that lesson.
Right.
Because if now you're gonna go back on another, you're gonna go to another relationship and go back to your old patterns because you
Right.
didn't learn nothing.
You didn't pass the class, right? Like I always say, you didn't pass the class, right? So you got to retake the
And
class.
by all means, sometimes life give you the lesson with the test without giving you the time to learn the lesson.
That is true. It is so true. Yep, sometimes it does. Right.
So
yes.
forgive yourself
Mm-hmm.
for messing up again, okay?
Right.
But this time, acknowledge the lesson. I tell my
Exactly.
girls, I don't care how many mistakes you make.
Right.
Just don't make the same ones.
Right, right, right.
Don't make the same ones because
Mhm.
you got to grow and you have to
grow, right?
learn from those experiences. If not, you're like a hamster in a wheel.
Yep. I
You're not
use
going
that
anywhere.
example all the time because, like you said, that hamster on the wheel, he's not going anywhere. His starting point and ending point is the same. It's the same point.
But you're killing yourself running.
Right. You're just running and striving and
You're
striving.
going, and you're like, yes, I'm going. I'm moving. I'm moving. No, you are. You're not
You got
moving.
it going on. You all let the bag of chips, but you haven't gone anywhere. Right.
Yeah. So there, I honestly, Katina, I don't think there is a secret solution for any client because
Right.
every person is different and every person has a different story and every person has different triggers and different beliefs and different what they want, what is their why, different goals, different dreams. So I work with everybody individually, but the first part of my training with them is a discovery part. We need
Right.
to find out the roots, and by all means I don't go to their childhood because I'm not a therapist,
Right.
I'm a coach. So
Right.
I don't go into their childhood and how did you feel and what your mom and your dad. No, but oftentimes those things come back, in our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see how that situation that triggered her when she was 7, 8, 9 years old is continued to trigger her now that she's 30, 35, or 40 years old.
Right.
So
Right.
let's find out, okay, this is a trigger for you. But
Mhm.
this was a trigger of something that happened when you were 7, where you created that limited belief that you have carry on until you're 40.
Right.
Do you think it's time to let it go?
Exactly.
Maybe it's not
Right.
working for you anymore. Maybe it doesn't serve you anymore.
Mhm.
Maybe we can rescue the lesson. Maybe we can forgive either your parents or your sister or your uncle or your grandfather or your friend, whoever said whatever to you that make you create that belief.
Right.
Because you allowed it.
Exactly.
And let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is not true.
There was a son, he was devoured by earth. There was a God, they call him the Father. And there was a means to make a valley with grace out of this hole that I've dug for me. He made a valley of grace where things would change, and maybe they'd take up the cross high again. The valley of grace was never the same after he had died. The love that refines it on my own. He gave more than I could have known. He turned those valleys into places to learn, instead of burn and perish away. And nights never so cold without His grace. How could I say that I've seen the world from His great love? How could I know what He could love? How would I've seen what He had in store for me if I didn't give up and let Him be my valley of grace, where things would change and maybe they'd take up the cross high again? The valley of grace never was the same after He had died. The love that refines, so much I wish I could give back, but I'm not intact to be sharing all of that. You took the price to give me that life, and now it's never gonna fade away. When I see I need more of Him, He whispers the sweetest of mercies upon my ears, and I won't go back the way it was again, again, again. And now a valley of grace where things would change. I've seen the lights of valley of grace where things have changed. Oh, I've seen so much for me.